Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Build Up. It's an exciting last day of the Premier League, not at the top of the table, but in the front half and the for top four and the relegation battle going right down to the wire. Uh, Today we're doing something a little different that we've not done before. Uh, these girls also are football fans, and we're very excited to talk uh, two girls about football. A lot of them feel shy actually to come on to the show, but finally we managed a small panel over here. Let me introduce yourself. For Arsenal, we have Supriya, who's worked in football and is a part of Arsenal Delhi. We have Shivani Wernikar, who's from Goa. She plays football at the PSG for in the League Two, which is under the PSG academy for a team. Subhagya Chauhan is here in place of Michelle. She's also part of LFC Delhi as well. And Desiree is here from MCFC Bangalore. So hi guys, how excited are you all that the season is finally been able to complete? Let's start with Supriya.
Not particularly exciting for us. When you're talking about being a big day for Champions League qualification or relegation, it's not a big day for us at all. We finished 10th, nothing changes. Um, so yeah, it's been great to watch football back. We've won a couple of big games, but as usual, managed to beat United City and Liverpool and still lose to Villa. So fingers crossed, we manage a win today.
I was talking more from the point of it being a pandemic, and there were a lot of serious things going on, and there were rumors that the season would go null and void and stuff. But we
What
still
would have,
somehow.
what would have been like that for you guys, man? Liverpool after 30 years, not managing to win a Premier League because of COVID. Um, Look, I think it's pretty awesome that we managed to finish. I'm excited we have some football because the Euros off, obviously, and we'd probably be watching. We would have watched the finals a week ago of the Euros that had been on. So I'm just glad to have football this summer to watch while we're stuck at home.
I'll let Subhagya answer what would happen if the season was null and void.
I don't know. I think I would. I can't even. I mean, there were already memes flying around about, if the pandemic gets worse and football can't come back, like Liverpool fans are accustomed to a lot of banter and a lot of mockery because, well, it's been 30 years that we haven't won a Premier League title. And, for us, it meant the world. But then at the same time, you also have to see that the bigger picture, that obviously people's lives always matter more than a league title. It was awful, it was scary, it was like, I mean, it was almost, I was convinced that we wouldn't be able to make it through, but then we did. So yeah, it's pretty great. I mean, life without football is not really fruitful in general. I mean, it's not just about Liverpool, but any football, right?
Yeah.
So I guess.
Shivani, United did very well post the pandemic. Do you think
It's
it helped you? It helped you all?
not really. I mean, like the last three games that we won and two games that we drew. I mean, it's pretty decent after since the pandemic. But I don't know. Let's see. Hope, fingers crossed. I mean, all we need is a win or a draw today. So I mean, if we can make it, we can make it. But I'm pretty sure like we're just gonna make it, and then that's it. We're not gonna win anything. It's honestly we've haven't been in the best shape for the last few seasons. So, I mean, it's pretty sad, but like, yeah, but I still believe in them. I mean, they're going to do great, definitely. I'm sure they're going to come out today and they're going to play really well. So, yeah.
Yesterday, were you hoping for a null and void?
No way, no way. I I'm not particularly happy with our standings right now, but all I can say for now is that we'll be back next season to claim our rightful place right at the top.
Okay. Uh, let's get into today's games. Man United, first of all, they need a point against Leicester, which will take them into the top four and give them the rightful Champions League spot. Um, Chelsea, on the other hand, play Wolves, but Wolves also have plenty at stake because just 1 point above seventh spot, and they need, if they want to be in the Europa League, they need to finish sixth. Leicester, they have to beat Man United to get Champions League football. So let's start with Shivani then. How hopeful are you tonight of getting that 1 point that you need?
I mean, I'm pretty hopeful. I mean, the last few games, our players haven't been in their top shape, let's just say, because I mean, they've been like really, I mean, we've had really bad errors from the gears, especially against Chelsea, against Southampton, even against West Ham. So just hopefully they can pull through because we just either need a win or a draw just to make it through. So, I mean, we have a pretty good lineup, so I'm pretty much trusting them. So, yeah, we can definitely pull through today.
What mindset is David De Gea in right now, knowing all the criticism that he's going through, knowing that a lot of people are talking about Dean Henderson coming back from Sheffield into the team for next season? What is he going to be his mindset for tonight?
I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's not easy being under that kind of pressure as well. So I'm pretty sure it's him as a player. He just wants to give it all and kind of just like prove the fans he's like worth it. So yeah.
Subhagya, for you, it's not been the best season for Arsenal. It's probably one of their worst seasons. Uh, it's very strange to see Arsenal right now in 10th spot. How long do you think this is going to take for it to change?
I mean, look, I'm glad that it was Arteta. I don't know if I was convinced early on if that was the best pick for a manager, but I do think that team spirit and emotionally he's managed to bring the fans back. I think that it's not fair to make a call on the manager per se after only 6 months. Transfer season is really important. We have a huge wage bill. We haven't played Europe in a couple of seasons, so we don't make that extra money. I'm pretty sure we're talking about a transfer budget of 30 to 40 million, which is like 20% of what other clubs are going to spend. So I don't see it getting much better, but I'm hoping at this point that next season we're at least talking about a Champions League fight. I don't even know if we'll finish in Champions League spot, but I mean, at this point, as an Arsenal fan, looking at finishing top 4, top 5 with the chance of Champions League qualification is probably the best it's going to get. If we make a couple of crucial buys this summer in the midfield and defense, I think we'll be in fighting position because I do think Arteta is the best way forward for us at least. But we need to give him at least another year, I think, with some money.
I think all the young managers in the league are doing pretty well right now. Even Frank Lampard has done.
Isn't it incredible
really well.
though to see? Like, I mean, I grew up. I don't know how old everybody is in the era of watching these guys play. At least Solskjaer and Lampard, and then to see them all back coaching, also in the Serie A, you have Inzaghi, you have Gattuso. It's just pretty cool to see because these are the people I grew up watching football play. And yeah, they're doing pretty well. I'm actually quite impressed. They're bringing teams up from that. None of them were in a winning position when they got there. Look at, Sarri and then Chelsea, Solskjaer when he took over. And it's fun to see for sure. Because you do have Pep and Klopp, and they're pretty established legends from the coaching perspective now, despite being ex-players. So to see this new crop versus the old legends is really fun.
It's like legends versus rookie.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Players versus coaches, but now things are on the other way around.
Desiree, today's game is all about David Silva. How would you sum up his 10 years?
The thing is, I can't sum up. That's how amazing he's been throughout his illustrious career. And I could just describe him as, a chef who's learned to, who's mastered his dicing game. That's what David Silva is to football. Okay, so his passes are just accurate. He's such an amazing guy. He's such an amazing player. He is so down to earth and so humble. Definitely irreplaceable. And today is going to be a very, very emotional night for all of the City fans and a big, big loss for the Premier League. But I imagine that he's doing this for his own reasons and, of course, for his family. So I salute him for that and I wish him the best.
There are some comments coming in that these girls are talking much better football than the men we've had on the previous show. Okay. City have a lot of records to chase today. Edison needs 1 clean sheet for his Golden Glove. De Bruyne needs 1 assist to break Thierry Henry's record of... No, I think it's to equal Thierry Henry's record and needs 2 to beat that one. Supriya, how do you think Kevin De Bruyne can do it today? Go past.
I mean, if not today, yeah, look at, if not today, it's just incredible. Like when you talk about David Silva or even KDB, these are players that Arsenal would typically never have bought, but these are the kind of players that can make or carry a team forward. It hurts when anyone comes close to Thierry Henry's record, but I have to say I love Kevin De Bruyne, and there's no shame. He works hard. He carries the team. I mean, City are only lucky to have players, crucial players like that. You talk about David Silva. I don't know if you ever watched the video of Totti's last day at Roma. I mean, and a little bit more emotional because born and bred from Rome, from the streets, never played for anybody else. I sobbed buckets. So I hope you have lots of tissues ready because it was probably the most emotional I've gotten. And I am a Roma fan, but not give or die. So if you're probably going to be sobbing tonight.
You know, we've been talking about how ex-players are now captaining, managing teams. It's something like that. Once Silva is gone, we'll definitely have someone good enough, hopefully, to take his place. So I think you just have to keep passing the torch down and see what happens. That's what makes football so challenging and interesting, I think. And KDB, he's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. Those through balls, everything just lights up our face every time we see it. So he's definitely looking at captaincy for next season, and we're so excited about that.
Do you think he's as vocal as a company or someone?
He's not as vocal, but I think they both have different styles of managing. Even though he's not vocal, you can see with his body language how he just arranges and rearranges the pitch and is always motivating, the youngsters to do better and do this and do that and puts them in the right place. So he's definitely managerial potential, and so we back that totally.
Okay, Subhagya, Jordan Henderson, Football Writers Association Player of the Year. I know you will think it's a deserved for sure. Just tell us why you think Hendo deserves it.
To be fair, I will not go ahead and tell you that he deserved it and nobody else did. If I'm all honest, I would, like we've been talking about KDB. I think KDB deserved it, but as a Liverpool fan, I am extremely happy that Jordan Henderson has been awarded. Of course, this season has been immaculate, and even the past 2 seasons, if you compare how his impact has been off the pitch and on the pitch, as a Liverpool fan, I'm sure you observe when he's not starting or he's not there, we can notice his absence in an instant. Like the lads, like Virgil does step up as a captain or sometimes giving directives, but having Hendo is, he sort of glues everybody together, and he's scored also at numerous occasions this season, and he's one of the oldest in he's been there since Gerrard, and Gerrard handed over that captain badge to him, and all of us, we were like, we cannot even imagine anybody replacing Gerrard, because obviously he's more than Superman for us Liverpool fans. And him, staying here and building his game and, making this entire journey, I think it's just incredible how he's, evolved and, the mark he makes. And still, if you watch his interviews and everything, he's so humble about it. It's just incredible. I think he deserves it for sure.
I think his initiative about the coronavirus thing also, about getting all fans together and doing good to the NHS also helped him a lot in that.
I actually think that Marcus Rashford, and there was a point at which he was going viral, but man, that is unbelievable. It's really annoying because when you grew up in the 90s and the 2000s, you don't support United, you definitely don't like United. But it's a hard one for me to crush so hard on Marcus Rashford. I mean, he's young, he's a kid, and he's just a stand-up guy. It's also really strange, and sorry to interject, to listen to Liverpool and City fans talk and be so envious, whereas when I hear Chelsea fans or United fans talk, I'm like, yeah, whatever, not jealous of their players. Sorry, neither am I jealous of my own team. But to hear Liverpool talk, and when you talk about Henderson and Virgil van Dijk, but you also have Salah and Firmino and all these Mane and all these other incredible players, it's a lucky place to be, man. I mean, take it from a 10th position Arsenal fan. You guys are very lucky. At least City and Liverpool, you're really quality teams, and it's nice to see them win. They're not necessarily just expensive teams, but they're properly quality. Sorry, City. I meant Liverpool is not just expensive teams. They've really built up their quality, and City too. But it's lovely to see. I mean, to have the typical big three, like just about qualifying for Europe, but have so much more fun at the top. It's what the Premier League needed in the last 5-10 years, a bit of a shake-up, just to make it more exciting. I talk about 6-7 big teams. I mean, there's no one here from Tottenham, but like, let's give them their due as much as an Arsenal fan. I don't want to. We now talk about 6 big teams in the Premier League. It wasn't like that a decade ago. I think that's awesome, just for English football in general.
And I think with the signings also coming in, with Chelsea stepping it up, also it's going to be pretty crazy next season.
Yeah, well, I can't say much about that because we're scraping the barrel here. But for everybody else, yeah, I think it's going to be a big summer.
Shivani, is this the make or break game for Ole? And what happens if United do not qualify for the Champions League tonight?
I mean, it's firstly, I mean, just not him. I mean, we lose a ton of sponsorship as well. It's just not on him.
But you have Ed Woodward.
Yeah.
He can sign anything except for players maybe. But
at this point, it really doesn't matter about the players. I mean, it doesn't also matter. I mean, like, look at Liverpool City. You guys have some amazing talent, not expensive players, but they show quality action on the field. And I think it's just with the passes, communication. I think that's what United lacks. I mean, there is something that we lack. Maybe after selling off Lukaku and not having anyone up front, maybe that's impacted them a little. But I mean, it's pretty much hard to say. In the last few years, they haven't been performing. No matter how much of money we spend, it's just one of those few seasons that we're going to keep having in the next few years, I feel like. But I feel like they would come back maybe in a few years' time. But in the next coming few years, I definitely see City, Tottenham, and like Liverpool really dumb.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, you mentioned Lukaku, and like, look at Inter, man. Lukaku's having a incredible season. So
the highest goal scoring season this time, like in comparison to all the clubs he's been there. I think he scored 29 goals, if I'm not wrong.
23.
I mean,
with assists as well. Yeah, he's having a really good season.
Also, Inter are a really solid team. It's not that they weren't competitive at the top in any case, and they've come pretty close. But it has been incredible to see, and I think it goes back to the fact that it may be just like Arsenal, you weren't creating enough chances, you weren't getting the ball to him, and he obviously wasn't motivated as much as he could have been. I think England is hard for European players. And it's the same. You look at Arsenal players who move on and how much better they're doing. If you're not creating chances, getting the ball up to them, no attacker can do what he needs to do, right?
United do have Odion Ighalo as well, which is who they signed. But somehow Solskjaer has been playing the same team day in, day out. Does he not have faith in the players that are on the bench, or does he want to show the board that he is playing the same team day in, day out, and to say that I don't have more players to play?
Well, I mean, it's pretty much hard to say. I mean, we have really good players, but I mean, they just don't show it on the field. And like, I feel like also sometimes with our injuries, it's really hard to say sometimes. Like, personally playing on the field, I know a coach will pick you. If you do well in training, you're on the field. But if you don't show it in training, you don't play. So I guess we really lack that motivation on and off the field as well. I know our last few games have been good, but I mean, that just doesn't sum it up for me. I feel like we have a ton of more work to do. Our players are just like tired off the field, and which was pretty much in the last 2 games, I think our players were like completely worn out. It was sad to see. I mean, we don't have the same pace that Liverpool have, the same communication. I mean, we've kind of like lost it all. We sign all of these players and we kind of just depend on them. It's very different when it's like a team like Barcelona. You depend on Messi. That's a very different player. I mean, he provides a lot. I mean, he's a game maker. He's a scorer. He does a lot for the team. But I mean, it's just not a one-man show. You have other 10 players on the field too out there. So it's really hard for the coach as well.
Desiree, you play football too. How do you think this fatigue? Do you think this fatigue is actually affecting United, or do you think they don't have a strong enough squad to challenge the top four?
Um, Speaking as a City fan, I'm happy that United is at the position they are in right now. But if I have to be honest, my personal opinion would be they have a fantastic team. Been watching them closely of late, and I find their football really interesting. But I find that Solskjaer isn't very creative enough, and to be honest, he kind of focuses on being a friend to his players rather than actually being a manager and taking charge and taking the reins. I think they have a really good team with great potential, and they just need someone to give them that push and set them straight. I think they're gonna be in one of the top teams next season.
Yeah, as I was saying, Shivani, do you think is this a make or break a moment for Ole, or do you think he will still have a chance even though if they do not make it by any?
I'm pretty sure he'll definitely have a chance. I mean, it looks like, I mean, the fans aren't happy, but like I mean, it's a 50-50 shot. So I'm just really hoping he stays on. He's done well. I mean, just like the other managers, he does need time as well, a little more time. So yeah.
Subhagya, this is the first time I think in a long time that we don't have to do anything on the last day of the Premier League. Because I think 2017 we were chasing top four, and last season we were chasing Man City, and this season we're just sitting right up there. What do you think has changed from the last two seasons?
I think, to be very honest, if you like you rightly said, the last season, even on the last game day, like I think I remember Man City was playing a game, and we were constantly
Brighton.
watching Liverpool, and we were checking the scores, to see if they lose. And there was an instance when they were trailing, and we all were like celebrating. We were almost convinced that maybe we can win the league, and that we've grasped. And but then City being City, they scored goals, and but then and even the season before that, it was the top four. But I think the main thing that we've had all 3 seasons is consistency, and the most impactful factor that Klopp has got is the mentality. Today's game just marks the finishing of a fantastic season. I mean, besides the fact that we get a lot of criticism about not being able to be the Invincibles, Arsenal fans, and about not being the Centurions. But I think as a Liverpool fan, I started supporting Liverpool in 2007, and it's been 13 years. And people who have been supporting for more than 30 years, just imagine how immaculate this is for them, the whole journey they've made. And last year being that close to the Premier League, and during the 17-18 season, the UCL final, and then getting the title the UCL last year. So I think it's actually a pretty good season for a Liverpool fan. So whatever banter that I get, I just say, buddy, I can't hear you from top of the league. And I think the fact that we won it in such an incredible way, making a record of winning 7 games prior to the end of the season. So I think we've done pretty well. So.
Okay, time is just flying, so let's go straight into the lineup for today. Can you all see it?
Yep.
Okay, let's start with Supriya. The Arsenal lineup again. Pepe, Lacazette.
I mean, I was hoping Bellerin was going to play today. It's obviously a 4-3-3, but the way they play, I would guess with Holding would be more like a 3-4-3. Hopefully, it's a strong team. I mean, when we needed a strong team, we had to come back from Villa Park last weekend. It's embarrassing after having beat Liverpool and City to then not be able to beat Villa Park, who are in relegation, is pretty embarrassing. So yeah, I'm happy with the team. I think we're gonna have a big fight on our hands. Watford are looking to get a point, and
they need a point
to escape relegation.
Is this the like a gateway for your FA Cup game, like a training match, or
I
the
think so.
normal
This is
league.
probably the strongest team that I've seen him put up in a couple of weeks, and I'm happy. I wish Bellerin was playing, but I think he has a ankle, leg or some groin or something he pulled, or calf. Yeah, strong team. I'm hoping this is exactly like you said, an FA Cup build up.
So, Desiree, let's
Yep.
go with this thing. Phil Foden goes straight into the lineup, and we were sure David Silva is going to be there.
Yes, of course.
Obviously, would you change anything for today? Because Norwich beat you last. I think Norwich is one of the team that took points off Man City and probably made a big impact on their season. Because after that, City had a very topsy-turvy season after that. So, are Man
Yep.
City looking at revenge, or is it just a training match pre to going into Real Madrid?
Yeah, we lost to Norwich last game 3-2. I think things pretty much went downhill from there. We weren't able to reclaim some really vital points that we needed, to get kick-started again. But looking at today's lineup, this looks like the lineup of a winning team. I'm extremely happy with this lineup. Of course, Silva being the captain. Uh, Everything looks good to me today. So all eyes, to be honest, is going to be on Leicester and United. So definitely looking forward to this. And I think we're going to sweep through Norwich today.
Shivani, I think even this is Man United's most strongest team apart from Brandon Williams, because can't you owe it to Luke Shaw's injury. But yeah, this is the strongest Man United team he could have put out.
Definitely. I mean, this looks like a really good team. I mean, there's definitely good pressure on Bruno and Greenwood to perform. I mean, the last few games they've been doing really well in providing. So I really hope they pull out, because this is one of the strongest teams I've seen him put out, and I feel it's going to be good. I mean, we have a great chance here today, for sure.
Is Maguire in the right frame of mind to be aware of Jamie Vardy? Because I know he's not got the better of him of many games, but he is one player who can pull a rabbit out of the hat.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. I mean, for the last few games, I haven't been very happy with Maguire's game, honestly. So let's just see how he pulls out today. But I'm definitely sure he'll cook out something very interesting on the field today.
Okay. Since Asana has not come, she's not even messaging me. Probably there's something wrong. Uh, the Chelsea lineup. Saubhagya, how happy are you to see that Pulisic is there and he did not play against Liverpool in the
Oh
starting
my
lineup?
God. I can't even, I mean, there was so much ranting and, anger amongst the Chelsea fans that when our game was going on, that why didn't they start with Pulisic? I mean, they were supposed to, if they could have, because I believe that he came on and the impact you saw, like we had a high scoring game. It was 5-3. That was absolutely crazy. I mean, I thank God that he did not start, but I believe that, I think we even if he did start, we would have been fine because, well, I think we had a great game. So yeah, but definitely it would have been slightly more difficult for us to score goals if Pulisic was starting that day.
Okay. There are a lot of comments coming in where people want Desiree to join Man City Goa and Supriya to join Arsenal Goa. I think Supriya is already on course for joining Arsenal
We're all
Goa.
like one. We're all one big family. I think all the OSCs. So that should be enough for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on
Okay.
that note, big shout out to OSC Bengaluru. Yeah.
Yeah, I think quite some people from Bangalore also have joined the live. Is there any David Silva tribute planned for today?
We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I'm not too sure, but yeah, we have to wait and see.
Okay. Before we get into some predictions, I would like to discuss some probably about VR. What is your opinion on VR? Let's start with you, Desiree.
VAR, huh? I don't like VAR. Sorry, pass.
Okay. So, yeah.
I mean, on days when you can get away with scoring, I like it, and on days when you can't, I don't like it. But I certainly think that it has brought on much more precision. But at times we witness moments where we can see that it's an offside, or it's not supposed to be, like they don't even consider VAR. So we have a lot of drawbacks also a lot of times. But mostly, I think it has made teams more cautious in their approach towards the game. So I guess yes.
Difficult question for you, Shivani.
I bet she would say she loves it.
The only person here who said that, yeah, probably.
Penalty
19
goes
penalties? 19? How many this season? 19? 18?
18, I think. 18, yeah.
I'm kind of, I mean, it's working on our behalf. So you know what? I'm going to...
They've got
I
a
would take it
full-fledged
too.
romance and flirting going on with VAR. They're like, I mean, it's just for United fans, they're like, oh, we love VAR.
Look, I think Arsenal fans felt like that way about United and referees, and in general, that most referees weren't very pro-Arsenal and traditionally and historically haven't been. And maybe everyone thought the VAR was a chance for a bit more unbiased benefits, but let me be honest, it's just continued the way it always was.
Because I think
not working for us.
At the end of the day, it's still up to the human that is operating it.
That's what.
True.
A human controlled by United. No, I'm kidding.
Banter is always welcome.
And the irony is that we are called Liverpool. That is the irony. Like, I mean, we even after United has got almost like 18 penalties that we're talking about, but we are Liverpool. It's just funny.
Man, it must be a really bizarre year to watch Liverpool win to an empty stadium. Like that must have been really, really strange. When I watched the ceremony, obviously the cameras are focused on the boys, so you can't tell. Yeah. But particularly for the Kop, particularly for Anfield to be empty. With the Emirates, and I can honestly say this because it's pretty universal, crowd or not, we're not very loud atmosphere-wise, but for Anfield, which to me, and I've been to Anfield and actually watched a game there in 2007, which was, and I keep telling Conrad, this was the Champions League semi-final where Liverpool beat Chelsea in penalties, and I was at the game, thankfully in red, so no Chelsea fans would kill me, but unbelievable. I mean, if Liverpool wouldn't have won, I would have been in tears, and I don't even support them. That's how magical the atmosphere is. I compare it to India-Pakistan cricket, and that's really what it feels like. So to be a Liverpool player and finally get to win, they're probably happy because at some point it didn't look likely because of COVID, but to win that way, sad and unfortunate. And I do hope when things are better that they have a proper second parade so that everyone can come out and celebrate, because that would be awesome.
And it's going to be one of the biggest in the world.
For sure.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I can't think of anything bigger.
Quickly, we just have 10 minutes more, not even 10 minutes more. Shivani, what would you change for this in this team for next season?
Pardon? I can't hear you.
What would you change in this Man United team for next season?
We definitely need someone up front, because I feel we're really lacking someone up front. Lukaku really provided for us. And if we can get someone up front and also center back would be great, honestly. Some good buys. I mean, we've had, if I'm not mistaken, we've spent over about 200 million on our buys this.
A lot of money.
And I feel they've been one of the most useful buys. I mean, they haven't gotten us anywhere, honestly. So we keep buying players and then we keep benching them or we keep loaning them. And that's not really helping us. So hopefully one good buy, and then we can maybe also a little more motivation on the field. And I'm sure we'd be good to go. But fingers crossed. Okay. I mean, we're never going to be like Liverpool or City anytime. So, I mean, those guys are just incredible. Those guys are another level. I mean, the teamwork, the concentration on the field and everything, it's just not what anyone is going to get to anytime soon. Also the pace. I mean, in terms of pace, I mean, Liverpool have a very, very different pace. Even City, for that matter of fact.
Okay, Desiree. Now knowing that David Silva is going.
I think we need to build our defense. A little bit of rearrangement required. We bring in some new players probably in the summer signings. Once that's done, I think we're all set for next season. So I would say strongly a big hard yes for more defenders.
Bhagya, Liverpool are very chindi right now, being very chindi in the market, obviously owing to the
Yeah.
pandemic as well. But where do you think this team needs to strengthen?
I think we see like Lalana is going and now Lovren is also going. So I think we will need to sign, somebody as a replacement or like you. I'm sure we've been hearing a lot of rumors about Thiago. I mean, there's
Yeah.
constant flirting going on, but then and
There's
probably
more
I think
bargaining than flirting going on.
of course I would like to call it as flirting because I would like to be optimistic as a Liverpool fan because there's a huge question every season that we don't spend much or everything, and we as a Liverpool fans we always have that complaint with FSG that why can't you spend money. So I think that if he comes it would be really great for somebody. I know that he's slightly injury prone, not slightly I mean, and given his age, but I think if he comes he can probably step higher and act like maybe a young Lalana, or a Coutinho. So I'm keen on Thiago. If that transfer happens, I'm just pretty much paying for that.
And what is Kroenke going to give Arsenal?
$30 million or less. I mean, look, I think that if we can offload the guy sitting on our bench who costs us a shitload of money and has not played for ages and ages and over two managers, if we manage to get rid of him, which looks unlikely, we'd make another, we'd have 20 million more. Yeah, obviously. We'd have an extra 18 or 20 million, but he is not going to go anywhere. He's just like Bale. He's going to sit it out and look pretty. We obviously need to sort out, I think, even more than defense, our midfield. Auba is great, and hopefully he stays and renews his contract. But if there's no one passing the ball up to him and creating chances, it's all pretty pointless. So I do think we need an attacking midfielder. I do think we need a little bit more in defense. Xhaka is great, but if we get rid of Guendouzi, we definitely need a replacement. Today is actually Xhaka's first game back at the Emirates since January. So it should be
happy that there are no fans.
Probably, but also listen, Arteta gave him a chance, and I think it's pretty impressive. He's done well. Huh? No one's really talking about it anymore because he has done well.
Yeah.
David Luiz is not somebody you can typically rely on all the time, and so we definitely need a few more defensive players. We need at least one attacking midfield, decent big buy. Let's see where we end up, because we always have a long list of what we need, and we more often than not don't end up with anything close. Pep was an interesting buy. I'm not the first to say he was a complete waste, but Harry Maguire and Pep for me are two. That's like 150 million between the two of them, or 140. I can't do the maths of pointless money. But I give Pep another season. Thierry didn't have the best start. He did create a lot more chances though. So let's see. We definitely need to spend some money at the back.
Does it depend on your qualifying for the Europa League or not?
I mean, when you're out of Europe in general, like you're talking about a huge difference in spend, right? Our wage bill just becomes impossible for us. Forget what we're going to buy. Let's see. I think I saw 30 mil is probably what we have to spend. I'm hoping we don't sell Auba. He's done well. I don't mind if we sell Lacazette. Would be great to have some more money in. And if we sell Guendouzi for 30, 40 like we want to, then yeah, okay, we have some money to spend. But those are all many ifs. We're not sitting pretty at all like anybody else here, though, unfortunately.
Okay, quick predictions for today. Supriya, you can start with your Arsenal game.
1-0 to the Arsenal. No, I think Watford are going to fight. I would probably say 2-1 to the Arsenal. I do think we have to finish.
I think we'll talk about the top four. Who's going to finish in the top
four?
Let's go. Who do you think is going to miss out?
I don't know if I should be rational or emotional. Rationally, I think Chelsea may not make it. Emotionally, I would maybe prefer to see Chelsea over United, because I don't want to hear United fans make fun of me for another year. So logic says probably United will get Champions League. Brain says hopefully it'll be Chelsea. Way less trolling.
No, I'm asking who will not get out of Chelsea, Leicester, and Man United.
I don't think Leicester or Chelsea are going to get it. I think it's going to be United and then qualification, right, for the other two.
Yeah.
So I think guaranteed will probably be United.
Okay,
Sadly.
Shivani, who do you think is gonna miss out?
I definitely think Chelsea. I mean, honestly, I'm just gonna say Chelsea.
Because you need Wolves to beat
Yeah.
Chelsea and Leicester also to lose.
Also to lose.
Sorry, Leicester also to get a point, because otherwise Leicester will fall out.
Yeah.
They lose.
Yeah.
Saubhagya, who you think is going to miss out on top four?
I would totally want United to miss out on the top four, but if I'm being all honest, I don't. I think they're definitely going to make it, and Chelsea and Leicester might, miss out. But mostly, I think Leicester has really less chances of winning against United, because for the past few games, as she mentioned, United has been, stepping up their game. So I think United will make it, but I want Leicester to. Let's hope.
Desiree?
I think Leicester would be dropped tonight. Yeah, so it's going to be Leicester for me.
Okay, quickly, Aston Villa, Watford, or Bournemouth, who's going down? Shivani?
Aston Villa.
Supriya?
Bournemouth?
Saubhagya?
I think Bournemouth.
Desiree?
Aston Villa.
Oh.
So everyone is very optimistic of
Watford.
Watford to survive. Okay, girls, thank you so much for joining us. I think I've had a lot of fun talking about football. It's been a while. We've spoken to someone other than boys about football. So thank you so much. I think it's just one of those days where we just can't watch one game in particular. We just want to watch everything.
Yeah, true.
So I don't know what channel Gold Rush is, but that's going to be there, I think, on one of the select channels. Thank you so much for joining us, and all the best for your games. And I'll hope to see you all soon.
Yeah, thanks for having us, and lovely to meeting all of you guys.
Yeah, same here.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Better luck next season. Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm used to it. Do you know how far down I have to scroll when I look at the league table to find us?
Oh, you keep scrolling.
Yes. Second half.
Thank you, girls. See you.
See you all. Good luck.